After the war was over, Bert and Rita were wed. They were now Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and with the severance pay Bert received, they bought some land in a spot called Charity Hills. With cattle and horses on the land, they set up a place for happiness on Drop-a-Line Farm. When the kids arrived, one after the other, so did the drought that nearly broke them, but they worked day in and night out, sometimes without getting any sleep. It was a real test for their marriage. They brought some friends and family into the situation and borrowed some money and survived the drought. Life was quiet and lonely on the land. Once a week Bert would drive into town to collect the mail from the general store. Then suddenly things began to change in Charity Hills. More and more people were buying land due to the recent offers from the government, who were providing horses and cattle for people who wanted to settle in the rural areas. A building boom came, and then the post office arrived. When Bert placed their very first letterbox on a post outside the property, it almost gleamed with pride, with the name Drop-a-Line displayed on the front flap. One bright sunny morning, the postman pulled up at the letterbox and pushed the very first letter into the slot and drove off. "At last," said the letterbox, as the letter was dropped. The letter inside the letterbox began to read out the contents of the letter. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Drop-a-Line Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Bert and Rita, in relation to your insurance claim for hardships during the drought, it is with great pleasure that I can confirm the claim has been approved, and a lump sum payment will be made into your bank account within the next few days. Yours sincerely, Mr. Merriweather, All Seasons Insurance. Well, that's just brilliant. I love good news, said the letterbox, who continued, What a relief that will be for them, I'm sure. Suddenly the letterbox went quiet as a hand reached in and lifted out the letter. It was Rita's hand, and she walked back towards the house, calling out to Bert. It's our first letter, honey. Who from? Came the reply. The insurance company, she said. Well, hurry up and open it up. Within moments the two of them were dancing around and around together on the front porch. The blue sky now had a silver lining, and there wasn't a reason to moan. The next day 2 letters were pushed into the slot. Well, what's the news today? Asked the letterbox. The first letter answered, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Drop-a-Line Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we are an employment agency who have hundreds of skilled workers throughout the country and would like to offer you our services to you. Throughout the land we can provide hard and skilled workers. The letterbox interrupted. Okay, thank you, that's enough. What other news? The other letter said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Drop-a-Line Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, just to confirm that a place for your son John has been allocated at Charity Hills Primary School for next year. An appointment for you all has been made, and if you have any questions or concerns you would like to address, please don't hesitate to ask them when you arrive next Tuesday at 2 p.m. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Yours faithfully, Mr. Goodfellow, Principal, Charity Hills Primary School. Oh, now that's something. Little John starting school next week. That's a big event for everyone in the house. All went quiet as a hand reached in and lifted out the 2 letters. Within the next few years, all the children started school. With the insurance money, Bert and Rita had started an olive plantation that yielded a bumper crop. They had some workers that they hired from the employment agency who worked at night picking the olives off the trees. Life was busy on the farm, and as time marched on, there were many changes around the property. Machines had replaced the people who used to pick the olives. New storage sheds were built because there were some government grants available. Some wind turbines were placed around the farm. Other alternative projects were in progress for possible exports. One thing that never changed was the red letterbox out the front. One day, a few trucks arrived at the property beside the Smiths' farm. That day, a lot of activity was seen as some new neighbours had arrived. The Houston family were moving in. After a short time, a new letterbox was erected beside the one at Drop-A-Line Farm. The Smiths' letterbox said, "Welcome to Charity Hills. I'm Smith L.B."
Thanks for that. Can I call you L.B.? I'm Houston, by the way, L.B., and I'm pleased to meet you," said the new letterbox.
"L.B.'s fine, Houston. At my place there's 5 people. Dad, or Bert, then Mum, who's called Rita, and 3 children, John, Margaret, and Lisa. At my place,
there's 3. Gary is Dad, Jill is Mum, and a boy called Bill," said Houston.
"We got lots of Bills here, Houston," said L.B.
"I get what you mean, L.B. I'm sure we get on very well together," said Houston.
"They're a happy family here. I've had no concerns so far. Been here over 20 years now. The 2 girls are engaged to be married, and John's getting married next weekend," said L.B.
The new letterbox said, "Well, before moving here, the Houston family lived in a caravan. They'd been saving for years to get enough for a deposit for a home loan. Just last month I got the news from their bank manager that their loan had been approved. So here we are, and what a beautiful place it is."
"Yeah, well, we like it. You'll get to know all the regular visitors during the day. There's a friendly mutt called Tut who likes to chase the postman's bag, and there's a bird called Sweet who likes to tweet tunes from her treetop to the passers-by on the street. And, of course, there's this cat called Scat who likes to lie flat on her back, pretending to be asleep, with one eye out for Tut and the other eye out for Sweetie Bird."
The new letterbox said, "Have you ever had a post strike round here?"
The reply came, "Never here. In my place, the post is delivered before twilight, and to this day I've never had any letter stay overnight. Well, here comes the postman now." From the top of the laneway, a little furry dog ran after the postman's bike, barking and running furiously until the bike was almost gone. A few minutes later, all the letters were delivered. Each of the letters in the boxes began to read out their contents.
"John Smith, Lot 1, Drop-A-Line Farm, Charity Hills. Dear John, just a few lines to remind Vera and yourself about the wedding rehearsal on Friday at 6 p.m. Could you contact the other members of the wedding party also to be there? I would like to thank you for both, for the wonderful way in which you are preparing for your wedding day, which is only a few weeks away. I love the way people like you write everything down so I don't forget. I'm not as young as I used to be. Yours faithfully, Reverend Lee Reynolds, P.P."
The second letter then started to read out its contents.
"Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Drop-A-Line Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Bert and Rita, at local council meeting some new changes were made in relation to a number of rural properties. One of the changes involved Drop-A-Line Farm. When you purchased the land, it was sold based on a 100-acre minimum contract. That figure has now been amended to 5-acre minimum blocks. Thank you. Yours sincerely, Stanley McStammer, Local Town Planner, Charity Hills Council."
In the other letterbox, the letter was reading out its contents. "Mr. and Mrs. Houston, Lot 2, Sunny Lane Cottage, Charity Hills. Dear Gary and Jill, enclosed are the photos from your ultrasound tests last week. The picture show 2 healthy baby boys. We look forward to being with you at the maternity section of Charity Hills Hospital in 3 months for the birth of your twins. Yours sincerely, Dr. Hart." The little bird up in the tree started to chirp as 2 hands lifted the mail from each of the letterboxes, and then, after an introduction, Mrs. Houston and Rita Smith started talking. Over the next few years, 3 homes were built on 5-acre blocks at Dropline Farm. Each house had a letterbox for Bert and Rita's children, who were now married and raising families. John and his wife Vera had 2 children, while Margaret and Lisa both had baby boys. There were now 4 letterboxes standing outside Dropline Farm, and one at the Houston's place, now known as Sunny Lane Stud. A muffled barking sound was heard as a dog with a stick in its mouth came running along the laneway. It wouldn't drop the stick, and the furry dog was getting slower, chasing after the postman's new and faster bike. After a few minutes, all the letters were delivered. Then, one by one, each of the letters read out their contents. The managers and owners, Sunny Lane Stud, Lot 2, Charity Hills. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Houston, we are one of the biggest names in the thoroughbred racing industry, and recently we've heard good reports about your stud in Charity Hills. The word is that you're producing some champion 2-year-olds, and would like to include your stud as one of our services we can offer to our international clients. We're offering you a 7-year contract with an annual 6-figure salary. Should you accept our offer, we got a number of horses we'd like to place with you immediately there at the Sunny Lane Stud. Could you contact us as soon as possible? Yours truly, Mr. J. I. Song, CEO, Evergreen Racing Property Limited.
Hey, LB, I've got some great news today.
Hang on, Houston. I've got an issue here with a letter. Give me a minute, and I'll be with you. Hang on. A letter was being read out.
John Smith, Unit 2, Lot 1, Dropline Farm, Charity Hills. Dear John, I'm writing you this letter to thank you for your submission of an artwork called Life on a Farm. It is now my pleasure to tell you that the work has won first prize in the state for Best New Work category. Your work has also been awarded first prize in a project called Country Letterboxes. On the artwork you had submitted there were 5 letterboxes side by side that captured the judge's eye, and they have awarded you a 1-year residency sit at one of the best national art workshops. If you can get some time off from life on the farm, they would love you to stay there and have a number of commissions to offer if you are interested. Congratulations, and we hope to hear from you in the very near future. Yours truly, Molly Meadows, National Director, Regional Art Society.
Suddenly the letterbox went quiet as a hand reached in and lifted out the letter. It was Rita's hand, and she walked back towards the house, calling out to Bert.
It's our first letter, honey.
Who from? Came the reply.
The insurance company, she said.
Well, hurry up and open it up. Within moments, the 2 of them were dancing around and around together on the front porch. The blue sky now had a silver lining, and there wasn't a reason to moan. The next day, 2 letters were pushed into the slot. Well, what's the news today? Asked the letterbox. The first letter answered,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Dropline Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we are an employment agency who have hundreds of skilled workers throughout the country and would like to offer you our services to you. Throughout the land, we can provide hard and skilled workers.
The letterbox interrupted. Okay, thank you, that's enough. What other news? The other letter said,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lot 1, Dropline Farm, Charity Hills. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, just to confirm that a place for your son John has been allocated at Charity Hills Primary School for next year. An appointment for you all has been made, and if you have any questions or concerns you would like to address, please don't hesitate to ask them when you arrive next Tuesday at 2 p.m. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Yours faithfully, Mr. Goodfellow, Principal, Charity Hills Primary School.
Oh, now that's something. Little John starting school next week. That's a big event.
for everyone in the house.
All went quiet as a hand reached in and lifted out the 2 letters. Within the next few years, all the children started school. With the insurance money, Bert and Rita had started an olive plantation that yielded a bumper crop. They had some workers that they hired from the employment agency who worked at night picking the olives off the trees. Life was busy on the farm, and as time marched on, there were many changes around the property. Machines had replaced the people who used to pick the olives. New storage sheds were built because there were some government grants available. Some wind turbines were placed around the farm. Other alternative projects were in progress for possible exports. One thing that never changed was the red letterbox out the front. One morning as the postman came, the little furry dog didn't come running down, chasing after the bike. After all the letters were delivered, the letterboxes began to share their news. The Houston letterbox spoke first.
Hey everyone, listen, something exciting here. One of the horses that Jill and Gary bred last has been nominated for Horse of the Year and has won millions on the racetrack. Now there's talk of a movie being made, right here, on Sunny Lane Stud. Isn't that great?
Sure is, Houston, said L.B., who continued, Well, sure, I guess it had to happen sooner or later, guys. Bert and Rita have just been offered a place at Charity Hills Nursing Home next week, but they want the family to speak with the community health team.
Oh, that's a big decision for everyone. What'll happen to you, L.B., if they send them to the nursing home?
Well, I'm not sure. Let's not talk about it yet, eh? Said L.B. Unit 3 letterbox spoke next.
Margaret and Paul's son Steve is making some noise in the field of new energy engineering. He's been asked to present his ideas on the hot rock process to a group of scientists in an international forum. He's just been given some huge accolade in a leading textbook used by mature students in one of the newest global online universities. I think we'll be hearing lots more about this bright lad, Steve.
After the birth of the new baby, Lisa and her husband Dave started making some wine. They acquired 5 acres for Bert, and Rita were very generous with the land package. And Margaret and Dave soon set down some good vines, and within a few years the small wine business was growing and earning some respect in the industry. Other letters now were arriving into the letterboxes on Sunny Lane. As time passed by, and not much mail was arriving into LB's box, everyone else had to keep the news interesting for LB, who was always counting on an update on how things were. There were some new developments that had begun at Dropline Farm. On 2 separate 5-acre blocks, new buildings were being built. The first was a working art gallery that was the centre of displaying local artists in the area. The gallery was John's concept after spending a year living away at a residence artist workshop in the capital. The second building was a workshop with residency to accommodate from 1 to 3 people at a time. John wanted to provide a place for any artist to come and feel free to paint and to feel inspired by the surroundings at Dropline Farm. Because it was a business of sorts, there were 2 new buildings, and they each had a separate letterbox out the front. Various art societies and artists were showing signs of interest. The government had provided a budget through the Arts Council, and a committee was formed to provide funds for yearly works to be done by a chosen artist to express a chosen art form. Those art forms were to be made public and were to have a wide scope, anything from sculpture to canvas. This concept could even become a seasonal activity for artists. There were some new and exciting letters now arriving at letterboxes out the front of Dropline Farm. Charity Hills was now becoming quite busy, and it was only a matter of time when it became a city. Charity City, with more and more people coming to live there. There were streets and curbs and gutters where once there were little laneways and dust. One thing that never changed, though, were a number of letterboxes that still stood. Although they were now spaced a little further apart on Sunny Street, the news of the Smith family was being shared by many new letterboxes all over the city. The end.